Emma, I once sat in a meeting for 1 hour and said absolutely nothing.
Nothing at all?
Not one word. I had ideas, good ideas. I could see a clear solution to the problem everyone was discussing.
And you just sat there with the solution in your head?
In my head, very quietly, while everyone around me went in circles for 60 minutes.
And what happened at the end?
Someone else said my idea, almost word for word, and everyone said, "Oh, that is brilliant."
And you watched that happen.
I watched it happen, with a smile, a very painful smile.
How did that feel?
Like someone else ate my lunch while I was holding it.
That is a very specific kind of painful.
Very specific. And afterward, I thought, nothing in my life changed that day because of what I knew. It changed because of what I did not say.
Communication, or the lack of it.
The silence that cost me something real.
And that is actually the perfect way to start today's episode, because we're talking about the things that can genuinely change your professional life. Not your degree, not your experience alone.
The things that are often invisible but incredibly powerful.
Communication, perspective, attitude, presentation, the soft things that make the hardest differences.
Welcome to Mr. English Podcast.
Your warm, friendly, and completely real place to practice easy English every single day.
I'm James.
And I'm Emma. And today we are talking about what can truly change your work life. Real things, practical things, things you can start doing or changing today.
All in very simple, easy, everyday English. So if you're a beginner learner, stay with us.
And if this episode feels helpful, please subscribe to Mr. English Podcast right now.
And share it with one colleague or friend who wants to grow at work but doesn't know where to start.
Because this episode might be exactly where they start. Okay, let's get into it. James, let's start where your story ended. Communication.
The thing I failed at in that meeting room.
Why do you think you stayed silent? You had the answer.
Honestly, I was afraid it was not good enough, or that someone would disagree, or that I would say it wrong.
So the fear of how it would land stopped you from saying it at all.
Yes, and the irony is someone else said the same thing and it landed perfectly.
So the idea was good, the delivery was the problem, except you never even tried the delivery.
I failed before I even started.
And this is one of the most common experiences at work. People with good ideas who stay quiet, and people with average ideas who speak up and get credit.
And that feels unfair.
It does feel unfair, but it's also reality.
So what's the lesson?
Communication is not just about having something good to say. It's about actually saying it in a clear, simple, confident way.
And many people think communication is a natural talent. Either you have it or you don't.
And that's simply not true. Communication is a skill. You learn it, you practice it, you get better at it.
Like any other skill.
And at work, it's probably the most valuable skill you can develop, more than any technical knowledge.
Why more?
Because technical knowledge without communication keeps you in the same place, but strong communication carries every other skill to the right people.
It's the delivery system for everything else you know.
Exactly that. And without the delivery system, the package never arrives.
So what makes communication actually good at work?
First thing, clarity. Saying what you mean in the simplest possible way.
Not using complicated words to sound impressive.
Never. The best communicators use simple language because simple language is understood by everyone.
And being understood is the whole point.
Yes, complicated language might make you feel smart, but if people leave the conversation confused, you have failed to communicate.
I had a manager once who spoke in very long, complex sentences. Everything had 3 layers of meaning.
And what happened in meetings?
Half the room nodded along while understanding about 40%, and then everyone went off and did different things because they had interpreted the same sentence 4 different ways.
One confusing sentence, 4 different actions.
A very efficient way to create chaos.
So clarity is kindness. When you speak clearly, you respect other people's time and understanding.
And you also build trust because people trust someone who speaks clearly.
Trust is a big word at work.
One of the biggest.
Second thing that makes communication good at work, listening. Real listening.
Not waiting for your turn to speak.
Yes, there's a big difference. Many people in conversations are not listening, they're waiting, preparing their next point while the other person is still talking.
And the other person feels that. They know you're not really there.
And when people feel you're not listening, they stop sharing with you.
And when they stop sharing, you lose information, opportunities, connection.
So real listening is not passive. It's actually one of the most active things you can do in a professional setting.
And it's rare, which means the person who genuinely listens stands out immediately.
Immediately. People remember feeling heard, and they feel warmly
Let us
toward the
talk
person who
about
made them feel
attitude.
that way.
Because I think attitude is one of those words that sounds soft but has very hard consequences.
Very hard and very visible.
Visible how?
Your attitude is visible in everything, in how you walk into a room, in how you respond to a problem, in what you say when something goes wrong.
And people read it without even trying.
Your colleagues know your attitude before you say a single word some mornings.
That is uncomfortably true.
It is very true. And your attitude affects the people around you. It is contagious. Contagious means it spreads.
A positive attitude in one person can lift a whole team.
And a consistently negative attitude from one person can drag an entire team's energy down.
I worked with someone once who was technically very good at their job. Skills were excellent.
But
But every problem that appeared, every change that happened, every new idea that came up, their first response was always negative. This will not work. This is too much. Why are we doing this?
And how did that affect the team?
After a while, people stopped suggesting ideas in meetings because they knew the first voice would be that negative one, and nobody wanted to face it.
So one person's attitude silenced a whole team's creativity.
For months. And the person probably did not even realize the effect they were having.
That is the thing about attitude. We often do not see our own clearly.
We think we're just being realistic or honest.
But there's a difference between realistic and resistant. Realistic says, this is a challenge. How do we approach it? Resistant says, this will fail. I do not want to try.
One opens a door, one closes it.
And at work, the people who open doors get different opportunities than the people who close them.
Over time, the difference becomes enormous.
James, let's talk about perspective, because this one is connected to attitude, but it's slightly different.
How are they different?
Attitude is your general emotional approach to things. Perspective is how you choose to see a specific situation.
So attitude is the overall temperature, perspective is how you read one specific moment.
Yes, good way to put it. And perspective can genuinely change outcomes, not just feelings, actual outcomes.
Give me a real example.
Okay, you get negative feedback from your manager. Same feedback, two different perspectives.
Person one,
Person one sees it as criticism, personal, painful. They feel attacked. They become defensive. They leave the conversation thinking about what they said wrong, not about what they can change.
person two,
Person two sees it as information, useful data about what needs to improve. They ask questions, they take notes. They leave the conversation with a clearer picture of how to grow.
same feedback, completely different outcomes.
Same manager, same words, same situation, but two completely different futures.
Because the perspective shaped what they did with the information.
And this is important for English learners who work in English-speaking environments specifically.
Why specifically?
Because sometimes a misunderstanding in a second language can feel like criticism when it was not meant that way. And the learner who sees it as personal attacks versus the learner who sees it as a communication difference have very different experiences.
So perspective protects you from misreading situations.
And helps you respond to situations based on what is actually happening, not what your fear is telling you is happening.
That's such an important distinction. Let us talk about presentation, and I don't just mean formal presentations in front of a group.
Good clarification, because many people hear presentation and immediately think slides and a projector.
But presentation is how you present yourself in every professional interaction.
How you dress, how you write an email, how you speak on the phone, how you enter a room.
All of it is presentation.
And presentation matters more than people realize because it forms the first impression, and first impressions are very sticky.
Sticky means they stay. They're hard to change.
Yes, research shows that people form a strong impression of you in the first few seconds of meeting you, and that impression influences how they interact with you for a long time afterward.
So presentation is not about being fake or wearing a costume.
No, it's about being intentional, choosing how you show up.
I had a mentor who told me something I never forgot. She said, how you do small things tells people how you will do big things.
Oh, that's powerful.
Yes, if you always send emails with spelling mistakes, people notice. If you always arrive slightly late, people notice. If your workspace is always disorganized, people notice.
And they build a picture of you from those small things.
And then when an opportunity comes, that picture influences who gets considered.
So presentation isn't about vanity, it's communication. You're communicating your standards, your care, your professionalism through every small detail.
Every small detail is a message.
And the question is, what message are you sending?
Emma, can we talk about something that I think connects all of these things together?
at
Of
work.
course. Yes, this is huge.
Ownership means taking responsibility, not just for your tasks, but for your results, for your mistakes, for your growth.
And it is rare, genuinely rare.
Why is it rare?
Because owning things, especially mistakes, requires a kind of courage that many people do not develop. It is easier to blame, easier to make excuses.
The system failed. My colleague did not give me the information. Nobody told me clearly.
All of those might even be true sometimes.
Yes, but the person who says, here is what happened, here is my part in it, and here is what I will do differently next time, that person stands completely apart.
Because they are trustworthy, and trust is the currency of professional life.
Currency means the thing that has real value and you exchange it for other things.
Yes, trust is what you exchange for opportunities, for responsibility, for promotion, for the confidence of the people around you.
And ownership builds trust faster than almost anything else.
I have seen careers transform because of this one shift. Someone who is just doing their job, fine, acceptable. And then something changed in how they approached ownership.
What changed?
They stopped waiting to be told what to do and started asking, what needs to happen here and how can I make it happen?
They moved from reactive to proactive.
Reactive means you respond when things come to you. Proactive means you see things coming and move toward them.
And that shift, just that shift, changed how their manager saw them, how their team saw them. Within months, they were given more responsibility, more interesting work, more visibility.
Not because their technical skills changed dramatically.
Because their ownership changed. The same person, different approach.
James, I want to talk about one more thing that I think people deeply underestimate.
What is it?
Relationships at work.
Professional relationships.
Yes, and many people treat this as separate from their actual job, like, I am here to do my work, relationships are extra.
And?
Relationships are not extra. Relationships are how work actually gets done.
Explain that more.
When you have a good relationship with a colleague, they help you faster. They share information with you. They warn you when something is coming that you need to know about.
They have your back.
They have your back. And when you have a difficult relationship with someone, everything becomes harder. Simple requests take longer. Information does not flow easily.
And you have no support when things get difficult.
And things always get difficult sometimes at work.
So how do you build good professional relationships?
The same way you build any relationship, with consistency, genuine interest, and small acts of kindness.
Consistency means you show up the same way every day. People can predict you.
Yes, and genuine interest means you actually care a little about the person, not just what they can do for you.
And small acts of kindness at work?
Helping someone with a problem that's not your responsibility, saying thank you and meaning it, noticing when someone did something well and telling them.
Things that cost you nothing.
Absolutely nothing, 5 seconds of your time, and they create real warmth in a professional relationship.
And warmth at work is not a soft thing, it's a professional asset.
One of the most underrated professional assets that exists.
Let's put all of this together because I want people to leave with a very clear picture.
Yes, clear and practical.
The things that can change your work life, First, communication. Say your ideas. Say them simply and clearly. Speak up in meetings. Listen genuinely to others.
Second, attitude. Your emotional approach to situations is visible and contagious. Choose an approach that opens doors, not one that closes them.
Third, perspective. How you see a situation determines what you do with it. Choose to see challenges as information, not as personal attacks.
Fourth, presentation. How you show up in small things tells people how you handle big things. Be intentional about every detail.
Fifth, ownership. Take responsibility for your work, your mistakes, and your growth. It builds trust faster than almost anything else.
And sixth, relationships. Build genuine connections with the people around you. They're not extra. They are how real work gets done.
6 things. None of them require a new degree. None of them require more experience.
All of them are available to you right now, today.
Starting with the very next interaction you have at work.
And I want to say something to anyone listening who works in English as a second language.
Yes, please.
These things we talked about today work in any language, but in English specifically, they're even more important.
Why?
Because when you're working in your second language, people sometimes underestimate you. They hear the accent or the small grammar mistake and form a quick judgment.
Which is unfair, but real.
Very real. And the way you overcome that is not by having perfect grammar.
It's through confidence, clarity, attitude, ownership.
Yes, when someone sees that you communicate clearly, that your attitude is positive, that you take ownership, that you build real relationships, the accent stops.
The qualities matter.
And those qualities speak louder than any small language imperfection.
So English learners, do not wait until your English is perfect to start showing these qualities.
Show them now, with the English you have, and every small interaction.
Because the person who speaks imperfect English with great clarity, attitude, and ownership will go much further than the person with perfect grammar and none of those qualities.
Every single time.
Emma, one last story, because I want to end with something real.
Please.
About 6 months after that silent meeting, the one where I said nothing.
The one where you held your lunch while someone else ate it?
That one. 6 months later, I was in a similar meeting. Similar problem, and I had an idea again.
And this time?
This time, I took a breath, and I said, "Can I share something?" Very simple. And then I shared my idea.
And?
It was not met with applause. Nobody said it was brilliant, but it was heard. The manager wrote it down, said it was worth exploring.
That is real.
That is real. And 3 weeks later, they actually used part of my idea in the solution. And I knew about it because I said something.
One small act of communication, one breath, changed the outcome.
And I thought about the version of me 6 months earlier, sitting quietly with a good idea going nowhere.
Same person, different choice.
Same person, different choice, and a completely different result.
That is the whole episode right there.
Same you, different choices, different work life.
Okay, English learners, that is our episode for today. And we hope this felt like a real, honest, warm conversation in easy English.
About things that genuinely matter in your work and in your life.
If this episode was helpful or gave you something to think about, please subscribe to Mr. English Podcast right now.
We are here every episode with real conversations about real things in simple, clear English, just for you.
And please share this episode with one person in your life who is working hard but feeling stuck.
Because sometimes one conversation can open a door that was always there. They just needed someone to point to it.
And we genuinely want to hear from you. Leave a comment.
Tell us, which of these 6 things do you want to work on most? Communication, attitude, perspective, presentation, ownership, or relationships?
Or share a story from your own work life, a moment where one of these things made a real difference, good or difficult.
Because your story might be exactly what someone else needs to hear today.
Your words in English, simple or detailed, short or long, are always completely welcome here.
Always.
So until next time, remember this.
You do not need a new job to have a different work life.
Sometimes you just need one new choice.
One different way of communicating, one shift in perspective, one small act of ownership.
starting in your very next meeting, your very next email, your very next conversation.
The same you, with better choices, is a completely different professional story.
And that story starts today.
See you in the next episode, English learners.
We are rooting for you, every single one of you. Bye for now.
Bye for now.